This is what happened when I gave an ex a chance. About 2 years ago, I received a text from John, my ex-boyfriend. "How are you? You've been on my mind. Are you free this weekend? I would love to catch up with you," the text read. Usually, I don't give a second thought to an ex, but John was different. You know how you just meet somebody and you click? You've never met them before, but they seem familiar. It's like you've known this person your whole life. Well, that was John. It had been 2 years since we last saw each other, and we hadn't spoken since our relationship came to a climatic end. I didn't think I would ever hear from John again. Without hesitating, I responded, "Hi John, I'm free this weekend. I'd love to catch up." We agreed to meet up at our favorite restaurant. Then my mind began flooding with questions, because I'm thinking, we haven't spoken in 2 years, so why did he text me now? Does John miss me? Has he changed for the better? Does he want to get back together? I have to admit though, I'm glad he texted. The dating scene sucks. In the last 2 years, I had only been on 2 dates. The first date did not own a car, so I had to pick him up for our date. I had to cut the date short when he told me he wanted to go Dutch on the check. I pretended to have a family emergency to escape. A week later, this man texted me asking me to reimburse him for my part of the meal. I blocked him. The second guy I went out on a date with was better than the first in that he at least owned a car and drove himself to the date. He also seemed to have a decent job and he paid for dinner. Everything was going well until he propositioned me for sex. What is it with men thinking you could take a woman out on one date and it's going to end up with sex? The last 2 years have not been kind to me in the dating department, but no one has ever gotten me like John. So I was still curious, what made him reach out? He did say I'd been on his mind, so he must have missed me as much as I've missed him. He must want me back. Convinced John and I would get back together, I decided to wear the sexiest dress I own. A form-fitting mini black dress that hugs my body in all the right places. I'll show John what he's been missing these last 2 years, I told myself. So Saturday comes around and I'm filled with excitement looking forward to our date. The black dress fits me like a glove, and I can tell my gym membership has sure been paying off. I stopped by the gas station on my way to the restaurant, and I received a lot of head turns. One guy even asked me out for my number as I drove off. As I parked at the restaurant, John called. "I'm already here. Come inside. I'm at the bar." I take a deep breath and head inside. I spot John, and as I approach him, I see him mouth, "Wow. My gym membership was definitely an excellent investment." We greet each other with a hug. "You look great," John says, staring me up and down. That's the reaction I want from him, I thought. John calls the hostess over. We're ready to be seated. The hostess seats us at a booth in the back of the restaurant. "Your waitress will be with you soon." For the first few seconds, all John and I did was stare at each other. He's certainly taking good care of himself, I thought, as I admired his toned physique. With a grin, John asks, "Do you remember when we first met?" "How can I forget?" I replied. "You came into the Starbucks where I worked at the time and ordered a caramel frappuccino. I had just started working at Starbucks, so I had no idea how to make your order. I ended up making you a grande espresso with whipped cream and caramel, and I hoped you wouldn't notice your order was all wrong. The look on your face when you got your order was priceless." We both laughed. "I didn't think it was my order, but then I figured it was your first day. I didn't want to be that guy that hurt someone's feelings for making a mistake," John replied. "Plus, I thought you were cute." Just then, our waitress appears. "Can I get you all something to drink?" she asks. "I'll have a lemonade," John replies. "I'll have a Coke," I say. "Do you need a minute or are you ready to order?" In unison, we reply, "We're ready to order." We both ordered the same meal we get every time we used to come there on a date. While we waited, John and I continued to catch up. John tells me he works for a major communications corporation and has recently been promoted to vice president. I shared with him that I've been growing my yoga business. When I'm with John, An hour seems like a minute, and we can talk about anything. As we finished our meal, the urge to know why John contacted me grew stronger until I couldn't fight the urge any longer. I blurted out, "So John, it's been 2 years since we last spoke. Why are you reaching out to me now?" It was as if he was already prepared for my question because John replied, "I've really missed you." "It took 2 years for you to miss me?" I snapped back. John paused for a few seconds. He sunk in his seat and then began to lean towards me. I'm thinking, this is it. He's about to tell me he wants to get back together. Here comes my happily ever after moment. John leans in close and whispers, "I can't lie to you. I've really missed having sex with you. I invited you out with me, hoping you would be into a friends with benefits situation." Shocked, I coiled up in my chair like a snake about to strike. How could you ask me something like that? Without thinking, I threw my drink in his face. I called him a jerk and told him not to ever contact me again as I stormed out of the restaurant. Crying and with my feelings hurt, I called John every name in the book. He wasn't the man I used to know. John is no different than any other jerk out here, I told myself. John became my ex for a reason. We broke up 2 years ago because he wouldn't make our relationship official. I refuse to be strung along, even if I've fallen in love with the person. It's better to hurt my own feelings now and cut ties than be with someone who doesn't know what they want. So it's back to the dating scene for me. After the experience with John, I realized an ex is an ex for a reason. I won't date an ex again. Instead, I will focus on dating a partner who's compatible with where I'm at in my life now. No more lowering my standards. If you enjoyed this video, consider subscribing to the channel for more stories like this.